welcome back to the Hawks Huddle Podcast, episode number 23. I'm Jacqueline along here with my co-host Mark. We have some big topics to cover today. My gosh, we have the draft, we got free agency. But before we do this, everybody watching this, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It's just one simple click. We'd be very happy with that. So please subscribe. And also, if you have Instagram, please go follow our Instagram at Hawks Huddle Podcast. All right, so
there we go.
Yeah, let's get into this. My gosh, we have so much to talk about.
There is so much to talk about. The draft was this past week, and I just kind of want to echo what you're saying, Jacqueline. Subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on Instagram. We had Zach Banner last week, a really cool interview with him. We talked to Adam Rank of the NFL Network a couple weeks ago as well, did a little bit of draft talk and talked about a bunch of topics with Adam, Jacqueline. So so we encourage you guys to watch that. But this past weekend, like you said, I mean, we've talked about the draft for maybe 3-4 months, and finally the players found their homes. I don't know, we could start on so many different things. 5 quarterbacks went in the first 15 picks. I think that's probably where to start. We knew Lawrence was going to Jacksonville.
Of course.
We knew Wilson was going to New York, right?
Yeah.
Now, Trey Lance, number 3. That was the surprise. How shocked were you about Lance going number 3?
I was not expecting that at all. That was like, I thought he was going to go second round. I was thinking like early second round, late first round, but third overall. Like having Fields drop to what, he was 11th pick?
Yeah,
like
11th,
I was shocked because months ago when we were talking, we were even saying that Fields could go number 1, right? And then it's like, okay, he's not going to go 1, he's going to go 2, all right? And now it's like, oh, but there's Zach Wilson, this kid who like we just started hearing about. And then I'm like, okay, so Fields to Niners, that just makes sense.
Right.
And then Trey Lance gets picked, which is like, wow.
And there was even Mac Jones, and we'll get into Mac Jones, and he went to New England, but there was that option out there too. The thing is with Lance, and apparently the GM, John Lynch of San Fran, said Lance was their guy the whole time, and they really kept that hush. They definitely kept that in their building because nobody else really knew that. But they traded a lot. They traded 2 future first-round picks for him.
Right, because it was supposed to be the Dolphins, right, at third.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Wow.
So I mean,
but I feel like Lance would have dropped. Like I don't, unless they heard things that he was gonna go early, right?
Right. And it's that potential sort of that he has. Like I think we talked about it a few weeks ago. He's not from a big school.
No.
Obviously North Dakota State. We've seen guys from smaller schools. We talked about Daniel Jones from Duke in terms of that being a smaller football school.
Yeah.
Talked about other quarterbacks too. So it'll be interesting to see how that translates. What's really interesting, what happens to Jimmy G now?
Right. So are they gonna, like, I think we talked about it, the whole like Brett Favre Rodgers thing, but I don't know what they're gonna do with him. Are they gonna are they gonna trade him? Is he staying? Like, are they gonna battle for it?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you heard Kyle Shanahan say last week he couldn't even guarantee that Garoppolo was alive by Sunday. Right? You heard that quote. That was a little funny, but it's they have a serious decision to make on him. And we've talked a lot about maybe him getting traded back to New England.
Yeah.
And that's probably not going to happen anymore with Mac Jones there. So it's really tough to think of a finding spot for Garoppolo now.
Yeah.
So it could be that situation of them, a Favre Rodgers situation. But like we just said, they traded 2 future first-round picks for it. So I don't know. It's really interesting.
I literally have no idea where they're thinking of this. Maybe this is going to be a huge trade for weapons. They're going to trade him to I guess like Denver, maybe. I'm thinking Denver. They trade him to Denver because I don't think they're sticking with Locke.
Right.
So
and another team maybe to mention there is Carolina. Now this that was interesting. Denver and Carolina were 2 teams who were projected to take a quarterback.
Right.
And they went with 2 corners at 8 and 9. They were the first actually defensive players selected in the draft. There were 7 offensive to start. But Carolina, they seem okay with Darnold. the Broncos seem okay with Locke for now. I really think that that could be a situation where Denver. I still think Denver's looking for a quarterback.
Yeah, I think so too. And we are going to talk about Rodgers. We'll I guess we'll wait for that because
Yeah,
that's like the big thing. Like it's like Denver, I feel like it's the number one place that everyone's talking about of Rodgers.
right.
Because hey, everybody listening, if you guys haven't heard, Rodgers isn't happy in Green Bay. They drafted a corner, right? Their first round
Yeah,
pick. There's so many weapons this year, and
so
you
many.
draft a corner for this guy who needs weapons.
Man, I know, Jack. And we're gonna talk about
Yeah,
Rod. Like you
we
said, we're
will.
gonna really focus in on that.
Hmm.
He has such a reason to be upset.
Yeah.
Sorry, and that is just we'll get into that. Um, we'll move though into a little bit later into that draft.
Mhm.
The Giants were slated to pick at they were number 11, I
Yeah,
believe, correct?
11. Hmm.
And then you guys moved down, but I know you wanted to touch a little bit on who was taken before your pick, and that was Devontae Smith.
Gosh, well, of course, like I'm thinking we got Smith because it was the Cowboys' pick was at 10, and I'm like they're
Yes.
not going with a wide receiver. My gosh, they're stacked. Then the Eagles trade, and of course
Yeah.
the Eagles, they kicked us out of the playoffs last year. They didn't let
Ridiculous.
us go with that whole thing that we already have. If you guys want to go check out that episode, is from a couple months back, but they did that to us. So I'm thinking like this time, no, we got our guy. We're good. We're getting Smith. We're gonna have a great wide receiver core. But no, of course the Eagles traded. They got Smith, and I'm thinking like I don't know who else to get. That's it. All my guys who were on my radar are gone. So then the Giants trade a little bit. We get to pick what was it? The
I
eighth,
think
was
the
it
20th, right?
20th, right? And then we draft Kadarius what his name? Kadarius Toney. I didn't even know him going into this draft. I
Yeah.
did not. Did you? Did you hear about
I
him?
did. Yeah, I did. And I like the guy. I like the guy, but I do understand. He
Not a
doesn't
big name.
relate. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
he doesn't relate to the top guys there at
right.
all.
But but I'm gonna say this now. After watching his highlights and hearing what others are saying about him, I think he's gonna be the steal of the draft going into
Yeah.
this season. I think he's really gonna make noise this
Yeah.
season.
I do as well. And Kadarius Toney, I mean, he was a dynamic player, and that's what all the scouts and like you said, what you've heard about him. Most of the people, the first word they'll use is dynamic
Yeah.
because he played running back at Florida, he played receiver at Florida. I mean, he was like the ultimate gadget kind of
Yeah.
player, and that's because he is fast as heck.
Watching his highlights, I'm thinking this is Tyreek Hill 2.0.
Yeah,
This is
yeah,
Tyreek Hill, and we're getting ourselves a player. Giants need a guy like him. Listen, there was a lot of things with Smith that were issues, his size, whatever,
yeah.
injuries. So I'm thinking, listen, I don't want him to be a bust, but I just really hope that he's not better than Tony, or
Well,
else I'll be
now
very
that
mad.
he's in your division there, of
Yeah,
course.
exactly.
Yeah, no, I know, and the thing is too, the Jaguars coach Urban Meyer, their new coach, he said the one guy that he was heartbroken that he didn't get was Kadarius Toney.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting. The Jags probably would have took him at 25
Hmm.
if you guys didn't take him at 20. But I think that kind of goes to your point. Jacksonville probably wasn't thinking anybody was going to take him that high.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it might be that you guys took him, in a spot that others didn't think so, or like
Hmm.
you're saying, you were maybe surprised a little bit, but
Yeah.
I agree with you. He's going to be a really good player. I think he's going to be really, really good.
I hope
You
so.
guys have done so much for Daniel Jones. This is such a huge year. Like to
Yeah.
have Galladay, Tony now, you have
Hmm.
Sterling Shepard, of course.
Yeah.
You probably
Darius
have Trevor
Slayton.
Rudolph,
Yeah.
Darius Slayton. You'll have Barkley back.
Yeah.
That
I'm
offense
I,
is
I'm excited. I'm excited. Like I'm so hyped. But this will be like if Jones we need to make the playoffs this year. And if we don't,
right.
then it's out Jones. Like we're gonna have to draft a QB. Like I
Uh,
don't want to. I like Jones, but if we like with this team, how stacked we are, our defense is stacked. Now our offense
Right.
is our like we've never had a stacked offense, but before even when the Giants won all those Super Bowls, we never had big
Yeah.
names. Now we have them. Now we have Pro Bowl receivers, running backs, tight ends. This is the year to
Yep.
make it to the playoffs, and if we don't, then it's out Jones.
Yeah, no, make or break for sure.
Yeah.
It's a make or break year for him. The other good thing too, the Giants were able to get an extra first round draft pick by trading down
Right.
on Thursday as well. So you
Right.
picked up draft picks and still got who we are saying is going to be a steal of the draft in
Right.
Tony, right? So
Giants had a good draft. Yeah.
yeah, I think you guys did really well. Even the edge rusher you guys took in the second round,
Yeah.
he was ranked as a first round
Yeah.
prospect by most guys.
Yeah.
So
I'm like this is like in the past couple years I've been upset with draft picks. I remember a couple years ago we got like Eli Apple, what top
right.
10, top 12, and I'm like, what are you doing getting Eli Apple? Are you kidding me? So
That didn't work.
there's been moments where I'm like so angry, but this year I'm actually with what like we were we had our pick, we were ready, and
Yeah,
then all of a sudden no, some teams will freeze. They won't know how to react. They'll just get the next guy who they think of. But no, Gettleman was ready for this and he knew what to do and he was
yeah.
able to perform under pressure. So I think this is a great draft.
I think yeah, I agree. I think it was a great draft for Gettleman and the Giants. And just like a quick sort of reaction, like I really do believe you guys are probably the best slated team in that division. I know the Cowboys are
Ooh,
getting Dak back, and I
yeah,
know the Cowboys got a stud linebacker in the top
they did.
top
Yeah.
12.
Mm-hmm.
But they were hoping for a corner, and a corner wasn't on the board, so they went with a linebacker. But still, I like what the Giants have. You talked about that defense; it's already stacked. It's a good team that they're building up. So,
Yeah, and
um,
then with your Jags, like, are you thinking
yeah.
playoffs this year? Like right away? Like, is Lawrence gonna come in as like the superstar, or is he gonna have more of like a Burrow season? Not like with no
No,
injury, but just
no.
but Burrow was great, but he wasn't like amazing yet, right? Like you have
Yeah.
to get into that. Is he gonna take time, or do you think he's like right away he's gonna be like Brady, Rodgers, Manning, whatever?
Right. Well, I wish and
Yeah.
I really hope and pray that it's the latter and that he does turn out to be like a Brady or a Rodgers, like right off the bat, or like a Mahomes when he jumped into the
Yeah,
league.
right away, yeah.
But no, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think so, and I don't think we're a playoff team yet. Like you do
Mm-hmm.
need to support your quarterback. We've seen so many quarterbacks recently fail. So many top first round
Yeah.
quarterbacks fail. Um, it's because you don't have pieces around him. And even we
Right.
can use Daniel Jones in this example.
Mm-hmm.
Now you guys are finally getting the pieces. Galladay and Tony. Barkley's been hurt, so that's
Yeah.
you know. So I mean, I don't know. I don't think we have enough. I loved that we picked Travis
Mhm.
Etienne, Lawrence's running back, just reuniting them,
Yeah.
moving from Clemson to Jacksonville, and that's going to be really really cool. I don't think we're a playoff team though. And I hope it's not like Burrow in the fact that he tears his
Yeah,
ACL.
no, not
No,
not that.
but no, I know what you mean, and I think he's going to be like he'll show some flashes. So he'll be like Burrow. He'll show some flashes, but it's still an adjustment, right? Like it's
Right.
still definitely an adjustment for him to come into the league. I can't wait. I got my jersey bought already.
Oh
Sure
yeah, you
we'll
did?
probably replace it with this Leonard Fournette
Yeah.
jersey,
Get it
but
out of there.
but yeah, so I'm super excited about that. I just want to see him play. I don't. I want to temper the expectations a little bit on
Yeah.
him, but I can't wait to see him play. We are going to get into Aaron Rodgers, like we said, but the one thing maybe I wanted to mention before that was the Bears getting Justin Fields.
Mm,
We briefly talked on Justin Fields. I think that's a really good move
yeah.
for them.
I'm
Um,
surprised that he dropped though. Like I saw Adam
yeah,
Rank. If everybody here, you guys haven't seen our Adam Rank interview, go watch it. But if
yeah,
you guys didn't know, Adam Rank is a huge Bears fan. Then he was, oh my God, he's posting all these stuff on Twitter, Instagram. He was so
yeah.
excited. I was shocked that Fields fell.
Yeah. Oh, I was shocked too, and I knew. I think most people, I think everybody knew when the Bears traded with you guys, because they traded
Yeah.
with you for that pick. I think everybody knew it was for Fields. It was either Fields or Jones,
Yeah.
and Fields. A
I
lot of
like
people thought
Fields.
Fields was going higher than Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, really good for them. I knew Andy Dalton wasn't going to be the
Yeah.
starter. there, right?
Right.
You kind of have a feeling, right?
Right.
And that's kind of what we're saying about Drew Lock too. We
Yeah.
think Denver might make another move. What is interesting though is Cam Newton.
Mhm.
Cam Newton, he got re-signed a couple months ago,
Yeah.
but now is that going to be a competition as well? I guess now with Cam and Mac Jones, it seems like it probably will be, right?
That's what I'm thinking too. Because Mac, I don't think Mac's gonna get into it right away. I think he's gonna need a couple years to develop before he can really lead a team. Um, but yeah, like you sign Cam, and I'm thinking like, well, we at first we were saying Cam's gonna, they're gonna do a big trade, whatever. And then,
Right.
then they signed him. So I'm thinking they're just gonna have to battle out, or just even have just have Max sit for like 2 years maybe, like and get him ready.
Yeah, yeah, and that might be the route
Yeah, it
for
it, it it's kind of like Brady, right? Brady didn't
yeah,
play also because he was drafted like way too late to become a starting quarterback. But
right.
but Brady took a couple years, and I'm thinking if he was put into it right away, maybe he wouldn't have been the same player.
No, exactly. And we talked about the Favre situation. It's like, yeah,
Hmm.
you're right.
Same
You know,
thing,
that
yeah.
that helps out the rookies so much. I mean, Patrick Mahomes even too.
Yeah,
He sat
yeah,
his first year behind Alex Smith,
yes,
right? So it's think about how much that does for a quarterback. So maybe that is what San Fran is thinking with Trey Lance and Jimmy G. It's
yeah,
just you traded 2 first-round picks for it. Like
yeah.
you're giving up a lot for your belief in this kid. So it's interesting. A lot of quarterbacks. It was just awesome, Jacqueline. I think just to see everyone out in Cleveland for the
Yeah.
draft. I know obviously here in Ontario, COVID is still kind of running rampant and
Yeah.
stuff. It's a little bit better out there, and it was just kind of cool to see everybody was vaccinated there as well. So it was
But not the fans. Were the fans bad? No, not the fans.
a lot of them were. I don't know
Yeah.
if everybody was, but I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure the NFL Network was saying maybe there was certain, maybe the fans that were like the
On
closest to
stage
the
and
stage or
stuff.
something. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Cause yeah,
but
I heard that as well, but there were so many people. It was so fun
yeah,
to watch. Cause last year they were in their homes. It was really like depressing.
yeah.
So this year was fun. It was really, really fun.
It was, and just we talked about how there was no combine and how
Yeah.
it was a different sort of whole year with the draft, and I think it worked out awesome. Like it was really fun to watch
Yeah.
over Thursday and Friday and even Saturday
Hmm.
even. So it was really really cool. But let's move to the most pressing topic in the NFL right now, and that is the future of Aaron Rodgers. That is what everybody is talking about. I mean, you could take so many different angles at it too, right? Like he's got the Jeopardy gig. He's
Yeah.
he's upset that Jordan Love was drafted last year. He's upset that it was like he's upset at the general manager. So
Yeah.
many things. Do you see his career with Green Bay over?
Yeah. I think it's.
There's
I
no
think. I
fixing
think it.
this relationship.
I don't see him going back. I really
Yeah,
don't. He wants to be like Brady. He wants full control, or at least Brady had that in New England. I don't know if he had that fully with Tampa Bay, but he wants control. He wants to be LeBron James. He wants to run
yeah.
the team. He wants to pick and choose who they have. And clearly, that's not the case at all. They drafted a quarterback last year, then they drafted a corner. If this was Rodgers' way, they would have drafted what, a receiver, a tight end. There's lots of talents in this
Oh,
draft that they
lots.
could have got. They could have got a receiver. They could have got a tight end, but no, they decided not to help Rodgers. Um,
Oh, yeah.
so he that like you can't do that, with this kind of player, one of the greatest of all time. If you don't give him weapons, he's not gonna win. And he didn't get any weapons at all. He has Adams. That's it. So he's gonna leave. He's gonna go somewhere where they're gonna be like, listen, you can do whatever you want. You can run this team. You can be Brady. You can be LeBron James. Come here. So that's what's gonna
Yeah.
happen. Green Bay's done, I think.
Yeah. No, I agree with you completely. I think that relationship cannot be repaired. I think Rodgers probably played his last down with Green Bay.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, like you're right. Like and this is a reoccurring issue. Like the past, like I think 8 years or something, they've taken a defensive player in the first round, and the only year they didn't take a defensive player, well, like you said, they took the guy at his same position. They took a quarterback.
Yeah.
So you took a guy who's going to compete with Rodgers. So you got to put yourself in kind of the shoes of Aaron Rodgers. And
Yeah.
I loved how you compared it to these other top players,
Yeah.
because that's the way it is. LeBron James is the coach of his team,
Yeah.
and he's
He's the
in
coach, he's the
charge.
GM, he's everything.
He is
That
in charge of all of those decisions. I
mhm.
remember Bruce Arians, even earlier this year, he said Tom Brady has a huge say
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
all that. And Antonio Brown coming to Tampa, 100% Tom Brady was a part of that
100%.
too.
Yeah.
How do you
Well,
think
well
Brown
Gronk,
got to New
even
England?
Gronk. Gronk
Wrong.
came out of retirement to join Brady, right? And
Yeah,
so, and I listen, some teams may not even want Gronk because of his injuries, because of his off-field parties,
yeah,
but because Brady is, was able to run the team a little bit, they brought him in. They brought in Antonio Brown, who also is very controversial, who I don't think I'd want on my team. They brought him in because Brady said so. Clearly, they're not
exactly.
listening to Rodgers. I'm sure Rodgers is saying, get this guy, get this the guy, get him, but they're not doing anything. So he needs to leave. Um, but
And
it's gonna be weird to not see him play for the
and
Packers
that's
if he does leave.
so weird. I mean, it's so hard to imagine him in a different uniform. Eh? Like
Yeah.
it's really weird. But I think I've heard a lot of people, not a lot, but I've heard some people say like, why is he complaining? Or like, is he's kind of being like a baby, like a kid,
Hmm.
complaining about everything. Like he's getting still paid like 100
Yeah.
plus million bucks. But no, like as we talk through this, everybody else at the top level of
The
their
top.
game
He's at the
has
top.
a say, and he
He
just won the MVP. Yeah,
Yeah, he's at the top. Listen, Rodgers. We already kind of know is a bit of a cocky guy. He's
yeah,
not the friendliest guy. He's not that kind of guy that you're gonna like look up to as this great guy. No, you see him as
yeah,
this great quarterback, and he is up there. He is a legend. He's one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. In our it was, I think it was our second
yeah,
episode, we talked about the goats. I said that he was the goat.
yeah,
So when you're up there, and listen, he's only won one Super Bowl, but he's up there. He's one of the greatest of all time. He's one of the greatest athletes of all time. He needs control, because it's like what you said before. Put yourself in his shoes. If you're at the top, you got all the
yeah,
money, you got all this. You also want to have control. So
yeah. No, exactly. And he was also upset. I think Ian Rappaport came out and said he was upset that they cut a receiver of his. But
mhm.
this goes to what he's saying, because he publicly praised that receiver. And then the day after, the team
Right,
cut the receiver.
right.
So it's not only that you don't even value his opinion, like you were picking the opposite, which, like you said, when you have a player this good, an
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers, you might want to, like, if he praises a receiver, probably keep the guy, or at
Right.
least talk to Rodgers and see why he likes the guy so
Right.
much.
Unless this is like self-sabotage and they're planning on trading him for another quarterback or something. I don't know. Like what, like Brady for Rodgers, just like no, that would never
Yeah,
happen.
yeah.
But like
I
it
heard
just
some,
seems so weird. It seems like
yeah.
self-sabotage because they're doing everything the opposite.
Oh, exactly. And I think because that Rodgers report broke on the day one of the draft on Thursday.
Yeah, right.
And that night, they drafted a corner.
Yeah,
Like again, they know that story is broke. They know that everybody else now knows that the relationship is kind of broken apart,
yeah,
and they draft a defensive player.
right.
So
Oh, sorry. I want to mention something else about that same day when that Rodgers thing broke. Tim Tebow worked out with the
oh,
Jaguars to be a tight end. What's that
yeah,
about?
no, I don't want him. I don't want him.
That's
I know
not like
it's
what? What's that about? That was like
it's
crazy.
really interesting. I know I was shocked when I looked down and I saw that. I thought maybe he was working out at quarterback, and I was like, Trevor Lawrence is about to get drafted
Yeah.
in 2 hours. I hope we're not bringing in Tebow. But he got some work at tight end, and apparently there was some interest. I haven't heard. Have you heard
Uh,
anything since then?
Nothing. So
Yeah.
I'm
So
thinking, I don't know, that'd be kind of cool though.
it'd be
But
cool. It'd be cool. I don't know how he would need a lot of work as a tight end.
yeah.
But we'll see. It's certainly an interesting story. The one thing I did want to cap off kind of the Rodgers talk with, because we kind of both think he's gone, and I think a lot of
Yeah.
people think he's going. Yeah, what is he worth? Like how much is
Oh.
he worth? And we talked about this when Deshaun was in the trade news.
Mhm.
Now the news for Deshaun is completely different. But
Yeah.
when we were talking about trades, we were kind of like, it's going to take 2 first-round picks, or
Yeah.
a lot to get Deshaun.
Yeah.
it's gonna be a huge asking price for Rodgers as well.
Yeah, because Rodgers can take you to a Super Bowl right away. He can. He's still healthy. He's still the same Rodgers. He just won MVP. He's gonna.
The
I don't know
only
what you trade for him. You have to trade everything for him.
yeah, honestly, and the only knock on him is he's 37, I think. I think he's 37
Yeah,
years old.
yeah,
So that's a little bit different, but that's not a knock because like we just said, he's an MVP. He was the MVP
yeah,
this past
yeah.
year.
He looks great. He's healthy. He's moving around great. His arm is still like we saw Breeze lose his power in his arm.
Yes.
Rodgers hasn't lost any power. Doesn't seem like that
No.
at least. He still has his speed, his mobility. He still looks very, very sharp.
Yeah,
So
and he still is able to make it work with Marquez Valdez Scantling,
yeah,
all the other weapons that he doesn't have that he makes into good
right.
players,
Exactly.
right? So
So
I think it
yeah.
just kind of goes to our whole point of what we are kind of saying.
Mhm.
We'll watch that as well. That's super interesting. I mean, the Buccaneers also took a quarterback in the second round. That
Right,
could
right.
be Brady's replacement for the future. So
Hmm.
as we talk about resting or sitting the quarterbacks, that's the route that Tampa's going, and that could lead to to learn behind Tom Brady is
Hmm.
awesome for Kyle
Yeah,
Trask, who was drafted to Tampa in the second.
yeah,
So, but I mean, we'll watch that Rodgers situation a lot. He was at the Kentucky Derby on the
yeah. I
weekend.
saw that.
Yeah, and apparently, he got asked, but didn't even talk to anybody. Didn't talk to NBC. Didn't talk to
Wow.
I think another affiliate was there too. ESPN might have been there covering it. They were
Mhm.
trying to talk to him. He was pretty mum on it. So
Any chance he'll go to the Giants?
no.
No, it's impossible, eh?
I just I mean, now you guys have the 2 first-round picks that we talked
Yeah,
about next year. Maybe you give them up and another one or something.
yeah, a
It's gonna take a
lot.
lot.
But I was
It,
also thinking too with Rodgers, like he's engaged, right? Or is he married already? Is he engaged? He's to a Hollywood top
yes.
actress. Maybe he wants to go somewhere like LA, New York even. Like maybe she's kind of in his head saying like, come here. Like
Well,
she's not gonna want to live
maybe.
in Wisconsin,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. And we touched on Denver being another
Yeah.
rumored kind of interest spot for him. That's certainly one. Los Angeles as well, though. Yeah, especially because that's his home and because of
Exactly, yeah.
his relationship. Yeah.
With the
So I mean,
Hollywood
it's
actress,
interesting
yeah.
though. Yeah, exactly. But it's interesting because the Chargers have Herbert. They don't need a
Yeah,
quarterback. The Rams just traded for Stafford, right?
right.
So probably isn't an opening there.
No.
But it's interesting. That's why, though, now that you mentioned that, though, like I really think this Jeopardy gig is a serious kind of thing.
Right.
Like he hosted Jeopardy
Yeah.
last month
Hmm.
as a trial. So Jeopardy is doing just
Yeah, yeah.
guest hosts,
He was
right?
good too. He was really
He
good.
was good. And he
Yeah.
apparently is going to be considered for the full-time job to host
Wow.
Jeopardy. And again, I don't know if I was a quarterback, I wouldn't leave playing football and that contract for Jeopardy, even though I'm sure those Jeopardy hosts
Oh,
get paid
he'll
really,
get a
really
lot of
well.
money. He'll get paid
Yes.
a lot of money. That's for sure.
But
But
that's another angle. Like I actually do think that I know it's crazy to think Aaron Rodgers is going to host a game show, but I think that is a serious kind of angle as
yeah,
well to look at. So and that kind of goes to the fact that maybe he just wants to relax in LA and just host a show every night.
yeah,
Maybe that's what he wants to do, right? So super interesting. We'll see how that goes. It's really interesting. Training camps are going to start up. We kind of entered sort of a down period now
a
after the
little bit,
draft in the
a
NFL,
little
eh?
bit.
Yeah,
It's
so
yeah, like it's yeah. We have to wait now for training camp, but then season starts up again. Are we getting a preseason this year?
I don't think so. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. That'll be interesting. The schedule comes out in a week, so May 12th.
Right, right.
A week from today, the schedule will come out. So that'll be interesting. The NFL has plans to have all of their stadiums filled with fans.
Wow, yeah.
So
It's a bright future with things are going with vaccines and stuff. So I think hopefully by September, like the world is open again. I want to
yeah,
go see a game. I want to go to New York or go to no, New York's much harder to get to, but like Buffalo, Detroit,
yeah,
Cleveland, close stuff. I
yeah.
want to see my Giants live.
Of course, of course, and I want to see. That's what I was doing actually the other day. I was looking at who the Jaguars play on the road, just in case they played like a Buffalo or
Yeah, I
a
checked
Detroit
too.
or something.
I didn't get any. Giants aren't
No,
playing anywhere close now. So if I want
no,
to see them, I'll have to fly somewhere. But it will be worth it once like things are open and the world's safe again. Like, I'm not going yet until things
yeah,
are. I know things are open, but it's like it's not so safe yet. I'm gonna wait till I'm fully
yeah.
protected, and then I'm gonna get out of here. Gonna go travel. Gonna go see my Giants play.
Yes, exactly, and I can't wait to see. That's what I mean. That's why I was looking at the Jags. I want to
Yeah.
see, Lawrence play,
Yeah.
so bad. We're both excited about our teams, but yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of where we can sort of end this. Things are sort of looking good. I think we got about 2 more weeks of this lockdown in
Mhm.
Ontario left, so things are looking kind of better with the vaccines and stuff, and hopefully
Mhm.
that all gets better. I think that like we said, we it's so refreshing to watch that draft and see
Yeah.
all of those fans there.
Yeah.
We just need to kind of get back to a point where that's safe and can happen
And
because
normal
that's
again,
so
yeah.
cool to see. Exactly,
And
and normal.
normal and I am excited for the future. I'm
Yeah,
excited for Giants football. You're excited for Jaguars football. Our teams have like a really bright futures, I think. It's been a while since both of our teams have had like big names and well you've been far in the playoffs a couple years ago, but
yeah,
you guys are getting like arguably the most talked about quarterback of all time going into a season. Like no one's ever talked about Lawrence
I
like
know,
this.
I
So
know.
hopefully
Too
it works
excited.
out. Listen, I hope it works out for you. Not too much though. It'd be pretty cool to see Jags Giants in the future. Super Bowl maybe. That'd be
Maybe.
great.
Oh,
That oh my gosh,
we
that'd
got
be
a long way to
crazy.
go.
Yeah, that might be a long time, but who knows? Seasons like last season was crazy. Every season seems to be getting crazier and crazier. So who knows? Giants Jags. You never know.
Yeah. Yeah,
It'd be
no.
cool.
Who know? I would hope so. I'm trying to think about the last Jags Giants game that they played, and I
I don't
think
even know.
yeah, I'm not too sure. So, but yeah, no, I know we're both excited about our teams. But that's probably going to do it for us today on the podcast. The one thing I did want to mention, because you're a Rangers fan
Hmm.
as well, Jacqueline, the Rangers and the Capitals are playing today. I know we don't usually talk too much about hockey, but we would just want to kind of talk about this sort of really briefly at the end. There were 6 fights in the first 4 minutes of tonight's Rangers Capitals game. And that all kind of stems from Tom Wilson. I think you said off air, Tom Wilson trying to kill your players, which is essentially an accurate representation of what he did. He punched Pavel Buvinich, I believe.
I don't know. I
Of
don't know
your team.
I don't know how to
Yeah,
pronounce it.
he
Pavel
punched.
and Panarin.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, he punched him in the head, and then he kind of ragdolled Panarin, and Panarin's going to miss the whole season
yeah,
now because of that. The only thing I wanted to mention was it's a $5,000 fine.
yeah.
That's the maximum fine in the NHL. If I list you some of the NFL fines, Alvin Kamara was fined 5,000 for wearing green in the Christmas cleats in December. Big Ben was fined 5K for wearing an Apple Watch on the sideline 2 years ago. Juju Smith and James Conner were fined for wearing their socks too low. They were fined 5,000 each. And fines in the NBA, 5K are usually for a flop. So that's a 5K fine in the NFL and the NBA, whereas you can just kind of go at a guy who has his helmet completely off and smash him into the ice in the NHL. Point of the story is there needs to be reform in the NHL.
Yeah,
That's
yeah. I
kind of all.
the Rangers released a statement about it.
Yeah.
It's I think every hockey fan can't believe what they saw and him not being suspended. I got an alert 15 minutes ago. He won't return to the game. Tom Wilson,
Oh wow.
upper body injury. I don't know what happened. I didn't see. Did the Rangers hit him hard? Like, are they really like going at him? Because I would, if this is my team, if I'm playing for the Rangers and I see this guy try to kill two of my teammates, just injured our best player,
Yeah.
everyone's gonna attack him. So
A-
he should be suspended, no
Yeah,
question,
100%.
no
How there's
question.
not a suspension for that, and
And
what this
5K, like my
5K,
gosh,
it's pennies, absolute pennies to
yeah,
them. And what this reminded me of was Miles Garrett smashing the
yeah,
helmet
yeah,
on Mason Rudolph, the
yeah.
Steelers quarterback. He got suspended for the rest of the season without pay, and he got fined, I think 50 or 100K.
Yeah,
So this relates to it because literally his head was
same
exposed and
thing.
he got dragged on, like slammed into the ice, and he's
Same
gonna
thing.
miss the whole year
Yeah.
for it. No suspension. So I liked what all I wanted to mention that just because I'm looking at this game now and I like what the Rangers did. The first second of the game, there was a full line brawl, and then like I said, 6 fights in the first 4 minutes, and now like you said, I guess
He's that.
Wilson's out of the game. So this is what happens. Like, it's a statement to the NHL,
Yeah.
saying, well, this none of this would have happened if you didn't just suspend, put the right punishment in place.
Yeah, exactly. So
But that
crazy.
is going to do it for today. We hope to have an interview next week for everybody. I know we're in contact with a few people, but yeah, I mean, I guess it's going to be maybe a little bit more of NHL and NBA talk. We'll obviously
Mhm.
focus. We'll look at this Rodgers story.
Yeah.
Any NFL stories in the future, we'll of course cover it. But like we said, it kind of hits a little bit of a quiet time
hmm
now that the draft's done in the
Little
NFL.
bit, a little bit. Yeah, but there's always news going on with the Rodgers
Always,
stuff, and we're gonna be getting big guests. So
for sure.
I think we're still gonna have a lot to talk about. But yeah, it's a bit weird now that we don't have any more football like draft. Because we had draft for like a couple months. We've been talking, but now I think it's really just about free agency, and Rodgers is like the big name. So
And
uh
you know what? Before we know it, we'll be doing season predictions, and
yeah.
we'll be in July and August, and we'll be full steam ahead, hoping for the season to start.
Exactly,
So it's
exactly.
it's not like you said. There's always news going around. So for sure. But we hope everybody will subscribe here on Hawks Huddle Podcast. Follow us on Instagram, Hawks Huddle Podcast, and make sure to give this a like. Like Jacqueline says, it means a lot to us. We appreciate everybody who's watching. Thank you, Jacqueline, and we will be back
Thank you.
to do this again next week. Thank you for listening to Hawks Huddle.